Hello students, I'm Dr. Himanshu Kanpal and today we are going to study the summary of the novel Oliver Twist written by Charles Dickens. Before that, a brief introduction to the writer. Charles Dickens was perhaps the most famous of English novelists. He was born in 1812. He was the eldest son of a clerk in the Navy Pay Office. At 19, he obtained employment in a London newspaper as a parliamentary reformer. Charles Dickens was only 26 when Oliver Twist was completed. All his life, he had been much interested in acting. His best known works were The Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, Bleak House, Hard Times, Nicholas Nickleby, etc. He was working on Avon Road when he died suddenly at his house in 1870 and was buried with famous Englishmen in Westminster Abbey. Charles Dickens was in essence a genre unto himself. His novels has come to seem synonymous with the Victorian period in English literature, extending roughly from 1830s until 1900 and coinciding with the cultural effects of the reign of Queen Victoria in England and the English Empire. The Victorian period coincides with a series of political, economic, and social changes in England that are inseparable from the nature of the fiction produced. The high point of the Industrial Revolution took place more or less at the time of Oliver Twist's writing. The production of goods had transitioned from cottage industries in the countryside to centralized factories in London and in the newer cities of Manchester and Birmingham. London was not just a hub for English workers, writers, artists, and thinkers. It was a multinational cosmopolis, the like of which the world had never seen. Dickens's fiction reflects London both as a center of international power, as a city consisting of small neighborhoods, and a city made up of the rich and those clinging to new and tenuous economic circumstances. Though Dickens's works embody no systematic social or political theory, from the first he took himself very seriously as a social reformer. His novels aroused public interest in many of the evils of his day, among them boarding schools in Nicholas Nickleby, the workhouses in Oliver Twist, and the new manufacturing system in Hard Times and the Court of Chancery in Bleak House. Deference to the fastidiousness of his public excluded the crudest realism from his pictures of poverty, and he seems to have built his hopes for improvement on the spread of the spirit of benevolence rather than upon political upheaval or formal legislation. So, now we are going to begin with the summary of the novel Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist, in full, Oliver Twist or the Parish Boys Progress, written by Charles Dickens, which was published serially under the pseudonym Boz from 1837 to 1839 in Bentley's Miscellany and in a 3-volume book in 1838. The novel was the first of the author's work to realistically depict the impoverished London underworld and to illustrate his belief that poverty leads to crime. So, Oliver Twist is a complex novel touching various aspects of Victorian life. It could be read as the parish boy's progress from the workhouse through the criminal underworld to the comfortable and sedate world of the well-to-do. It is an exploring study of the criminal world and its devious ways. It is woven around a number of themes, some of which keep haunting the reader's mind long after he had finished reading the book. The novel follows the journey of the titular character, Oliver Twist. A young pregnant woman named Agnes Clifford enters a workhouse after a long walk and delivers a baby boy. She does not have a chance to explain who she is, and before she can name the infant, she dies. Mr. Bumble, a beadle and the head of the workhouse, gives the new workhouse children names. He names the baby Oliver Twist. Under the terms of the poor law, Oliver is guaranteed nourishment, but He is in reality under-provided for. For the first 9 years of his life, Oliver is perpetually hungry. He spends those first 9 years of his life at a baby farm looked after by a woman named Mrs. Mann with little food and few comforts. At the age of 9, Mr. Bumble removes him from the baby farm and puts him to work picking and weaving oakum, a tedious and painful job at the main workhouse. Oliver, near to starvation during all his time in the workhouse, lives there for 6 months before events intervene to change his life. 9 years after Oliver's birth, the desperately hungry workhouse boys decide to do something about their condition. They decide that they will draw lots and the loser must ask for another portion of food or gruel. Oliver is the loser, and the next meal he comes forward and begs Mr. Bumble for another helping of gruel with his famous request, "Please, sir, may I have some more, please?" Mr. Bumble and the parish board are enraged by the audacity of a child of no consequence daring to confront the beadle, and they sell Oliver to an undertaker, Mr. Sorberry. The Sorberry household is a very complicated, and Oliver becomes a victim of Sorberry's unhappy marriage. Mrs. Sorberry's favors Mr. Sorberry's apprentice in the confrontational relationship that exists between the boys. After an incident in which Oliver punches the apprentice, Mr. Sorberry is forced by his wife to whip Oliver. Oliver decides to run away to London to seek a better life. He walks the 70 miles to London. When he arrives, he finds it bewildering, but he is being watched by a boy named Jack Dawkins, nicknamed the Artful Dodger, who befriends him and takes him to the loft where he lives with other boys. A cunning, thoroughly bad old man, Fagin, a master thief, controls the boys and runs a pickpocketing racket, using the boys to commit crimes for him. The other adults in the gang are Nancy, a prostitute, and her boyfriend, Bill Sykes, a violent criminal. Oliver lives with Fagin and his gang of juvenile pickpockets in their lair at Saffron Hill for some time, and unaware of their criminal occupation, which they initially conceal from him. He believes that they are making wallets and handkerchiefs. Fagin Dogger, and Dodger and a boy named Charlie Bates teach him how to steal, while due to his innocence and inexperience, Oliver doesn't realize they are thieves and regards the lessons as games. One day, when Oliver, Dodger, and Charlie go out to steal, they take Oliver with them. Dodger and Charlie steal a handkerchief from an old man called Mr. Brownlow. Oliver is frightened and takes flight. Mr. Brownlow, realizing that he has been pickpocketed, thinks Oliver is a thief. Oliver is caught and taken to court. He is almost found guilty, but the bookseller tells everyone he saw the real thieves. And the real thieves were Dodger and Charlie. Mr. Brownlow takes Oliver to his house and cares for him while he recovers from a fever. Oliver begins to recover. He wins the trust of the household and everyone likes him. But Fagin, afraid that Oliver might tell the police about his criminal gang, decides that Oliver must be retrieved. When Mr. Brownlow sends Oliver out to pay for some books, one of them, Nancy, whom Oliver knows, approaches him, and with the help of her abusive lover, Bill Sykes, he is quickly taken back to Fagin's loft. The thieves take the £5 note Mr. Brownlow had entrusted to him. The other boys bully him for his fancy clothes and strip him of them. Oliver, shocked, flees and attempts to call for police assistance, but is dragged back by the artful Dodger, Charlie, and Fagin. Nancy saves him from being beaten by Fagin and Sykes. Fagin is determined to draw Oliver back into a life of crime. He forces him to participate in a burglary. Nancy has to go along with it, but she assures Oliver that she will help him if she can. Sykes threatens to kill him, if he doesn't cooperate. He puts him through a small window and orders him to unlock the front door. The robbery goes wrong, and Oliver is shot by people in the house and wounded in his arm. Sykes abandons him and makes it back to the house they were trying to rob and ends up under the care of Miss Rose and her guardian, Mrs. Miley, the people he was supposed to rob. While he is there, Fagin and a mysterious young boy named Monks conspire to get him back. Rose Miley, while on a trip to London with her family, joins Mr. Brownlow in a meeting with Nancy, who has given Bill Sykes the slip to explain Monks and Fagin's plot to get Oliver back. She gives them a description of Monks and tells them when the best time is to catch him unawares. But news of her betrayal reaches Sykes' ears and he beats her to death. Sykes is pursued and while trying to escape accidentally hangs himself. The Mileys take Oliver back to Mr. Brownlow, who forces Monks to explain himself. We now learn that Monks is Oliver's half brother and the Oliver is the heir to a large fortune which Monks would get if Oliver were to die. In the event, as Monks's plan is exposed as a crime, he is arrested. Fagin is hanged, and the Mileys, Oliver, and Mr. Brownlow move into the country where Oliver has the chance to grow up to enjoy a prosperous and useful life. The novel has the vivid storytelling and unimpeachable literary skill that Dickens brings to all his novels. Oliver Twist was also influential in bringing to light the cruel treatment of paupers and orphans in Dickens's time. The novel is not only a brilliant work of art but an important social document. Oliver Twist is just such a didactic novel. In spite of its serious social themes, it has lifelike characters and a great deal of humor. It depicts the underbelly of Victorian London by featuring a gang of boy thieves run by an evil old man. It is a great read, full of drama, interesting characters, and lots of laughs. It is notable for the portrayal of the sordid life of criminals and the ill treatment of children, particularly orphans, set as a vivid picture of mid-19th century London. In spite of the humor, the spectacle of street children everywhere running about the street like feral cats is horrifying. Oliver Twist provides insight into the experience of poor in 1830s England. Beneath the novel, humor and dramatic plot runs an undertone of bitter criticism of the Victorian middle class's attitude toward the poor. Dickens's Oliver Twist very vividly criticizes the legal system, workhouses, and middle class moral values and marriage practices of 1830s England. Oliver Twist remains a powerful indictment of English society in the early 19th century. Oliver Twist, it is a protest against human misery and a contrast between two worlds, the world of crime and the world of goodness. Dickens was deeply concerned about men's responsibility. His great genius enabled him to champion the cause of the poor and the downtrodden. He wrote of the everyday lives of the common people with great sympathy, pathos, and humor. Dickens's criticism of society is almost exclusively moral, but it is certain that Dickens' aim lies in Christian morality being preached to human heart. His social satire is never dry and biting because its bitterness is made palatable by addition of fine humor and sometimes even farce because he was out to preach humanitarianism. Therefore, George Orwell has commented that Dickens seemed to have succeeded in attacking everybody and antagonizing nobody. This is all about the novel Oliver Twist, written by Charles Dickens. I hope you like the video. Share, like, and subscribe. Thank you.